Ibai sojo, Ibai le, Ibai sojo, Ibai le, Ibai sojo, Ibai la roye, shu Ibai le, Ibai sojo, Ibai la roye, eh Baba Ibai le, Ibai sojo, Ibai la roye, eh shu Ibai le, Ibai sojo, Ibai la roye, eh Baba Ibai le, Ibai sojo, Ibai la roye, eh shu Ibai le, Ibai sojo, Ibai la roye, eh Baba Ibai le, Ibai sojo, Ibai la roye, eh shu Ibai le, Ibai sojo, Ibai la roye, Baba Ibai le, Ibai sojo, Ibai la roye, eh Baba Ibai le, Ibai sojo, Ibai la roye, eh shu Ibai le, Ibai sojo, Ibai la roye, eh shu Ibai le, Ibai sojo, Ibai la roye, Baba Ibai le, Ibai sojo, Ibai la roye, eh shu Ibai le, Ibai sojo, Ibai la roye, eh shu Ibai le.
Hey, welcome to episode 107, I think, of the Corey Shepherd podcast. Welcome back to everybody who's been listening. Welcome to all the new listeners. Thank you for tuning in. You know where to find it by now, right? All the podcast apps and on YouTube. Coming out every Tuesday, despite popular belief. Happy Emancipation Day to the people of the first country to ever have an Emancipation Day declared. Thing to celebrate, you know.
Eh shu Ibai le, Ibai sojo, Ibai la roye, eh Baba Ibai le, Ibai sojo, Ibai la roye, eh shu Ibai le, Ibai sojo, Ibai la roye.
Here what I go do, right? By next year Emancipation Day, I go try and understand what it is these songs saying. Because as a man, as an African myself, I'm very, very far from the culture, you know, I doesn't know what they're saying. But anything where you give me some drum and a chant, I just get in a mode, you know. So whether you understand the language or not, the language of the drums is talk to you, know. So before we get into the thing, I could play one of my favorite, sweetest Ella handle for you, boy.
Elegbara, Elegbara, Elegba kolona, Elegba kolona, Elegba kolona, Elegba
And just before we get into the Emancipation episode, right? But let me just get back to familiar territory before we go again, in case you're lost.
Anytime that you have to bid, or when people pass and they see you, oh my Lord, used to feel that shame. Wondering if this lasts forever, wondering when you will feel proud. If it's one thing Daddy didn't tell me, there is sunrise after each cloud. I say
catching the power. Man say, I don't know what to do, but I catching the power. Rest in power to the great Devon Matthews and salute. And this Emancipation Day. Things they emancipate themselves more long weekend in this country now. I want to say, right, that this country had too much of a holiday. I don't know if people agree with me on this or not, but it's just a way too much holiday. It's unnecessary. Every time you turn, it's a long weekend. It's a middle of the week holiday when man ain't coming to work. The holiday is the Thursday, but man ain't coming out the Friday. What it is about this country, they say we are the single most public holidays out of every country in the world. So we're the first people to declare emancipation. But also the first people to have this among the holiday. I don't know what it is. So let me go to the doc now. Let me get some emancipation greetings from the doc. Let me see if we can feel. The doc emancipation greeting a little long enough. I find like it's a lot. You know what I mean? But Trinidad and Tobago Emancipation Day, 1st of August every year, right? Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, Dr. Keith Rowley, has called for an... God, you see the reading start. I emancipate myself from literacy. Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, Dr. Keith Rowley, has called for an overall understanding of the African condition, urging nationals to go beyond the celebrations of Emancipation Day to reflect on the various issues confronting the Twin Island Republic. He says, go beyond the celebrations and reflect on the wave of violence in our communities. Think of the African family. Ask yourself whether we are good listeners to our children. For example, are we telling them that success comes from discipline, effort, patience, thrift, temperance, and inner peace? That sharing is caring, and that there are opportunities in crisis and lessons in adversity. Are we encouraging them to be independently minded, ambitious, respectful, and entrepreneurial with a mindset of getting ahead rather than getting by or getting along? As parents, are we involved in their schoolwork and recreation every evening, their school activities, and making our voices heard in the education system and on all matters of patriotism? Well, so far it's only my wife emancipated, becoming really tricky schoolwork and all I'm thinking about. Only urge the nation never forget its history and seek to heal, remembering that only the strong forgive, never the weak. I like that. Most importantly, as Africans, we have to go forward, remembering that this is a multicultural land with a narrative of inclusiveness and equality for all, with the national watchwords of discipline, tolerance, and production. You see how we make a little African emancipation and then tie it back to Trinidad? And I like this. I like this speech. I'm feeling inspired. He said Emancipation Day is being observed at a most difficult time in the world's natural history. Worldwide, we are experiencing some unusually destructive weather patterns, wildfires with thousands of acres uncontrollably alight in California and other states in North America, across Atlantic and in Spain, Greece, and Portugal, with unprecedented heat waves through Europe, droughts in Australia, contrasting with severe flooding in various other parts of the world. The effects of which should be viewed by all citizens not in the short term but in a long-term planetary scale. All right, getting a little lost now. I thought he was going to talk about the pandemic and the monkeypox and all these things. I draw this attention to the national community and the wider Caribbean, both as a reminder and a call to be further alert in the same way that calls are being made for national attention to be paid to a new wave of irrational violence across this country, and for further examination of our security systems, our judiciary, our education system, and family life, all of which impact significantly upon the African community experience today. Well, I feel PNM having voting as easy as that. I'm back for the PNM. You see, nice speech and things, you could always catch me with that, you know. But it's long, right? But if you get a chance, try and read through Rowley's address to the, I don't know if it's called this address to the nation or emancipation message, I suppose is what they call it. But try and read through the whole thing because it's actually a really well put together and very inspiring speech. The problem why I want to read it is because my inability to read is fumbling up the man great words. And I think based on this, I write back in the PNM camp. PDP had me. As a matter of fact, we have some things to talk about PDP today, you know, so I ain't going to... Let me not go all the way back to PNM yet. I'm 1 foot in, 1 foot out at this point, right? The opposition leader has a message too for emancipation. Should I read this or not? Let me see where I get this from. This is from Loop News. There you go. Opposition leader Kamala Prasad Bisasa urged the country not to forget the horrors of the slave trade. and to also remember the courage of black people who overcame them. All right, there. Should I just go back to our whole episode? I think we had some slave comments by Kamala recently that wasn't so. Anyway, in a statement for Emancipation Day, Kamala Prasad Bisesa said the bravery of the country's ancestors must not be forgotten. Today, I join with the national community in celebrating the 188th anniversary of Emancipation. Let's just put them in context, right? 400 years of slavery, 188, so we've been captive longer than we've been free, right? Today, I join with the national community in celebrating the 188th anniversary of Emancipation. Today, as we remember one of the darkest events in humanity, we acknowledge the strength of the people to defeat what can only be described as a grave evil to become an invaluable pillar of courage as well as enrichment to our global community. This day is not only a special one for our brothers and sisters of African heritage, as it serves a reminder of the proud achievements and lasting legacy of those of African descent continue to make in our nation post-emancipation. It's a significant day for all of us as it celebrates the wisdom, innovation, friendship, development, kindness, and enlightenment the world has received from our African brothers and sisters. Come on, who write this? Today we honor, thank, and celebrate the courage of people to rise from the greatest injustice and crime of humanity to become our cornerstones of our society. Emancipation Day also serves to remind us the horrors that the transatlantic slave trade must not be forgotten. Kamala, 2 weeks ago, I can't finish this one night. Sorry. I want to apologize to Dr. Keith Christopher Rowley and Kamala Sushila Prasad Bisesa. I want to get the names right. I don't know who write her for Kamala, but maybe she should not say, just don't address nothing, because this is not sounding good. This is 2-3 weeks after you come and say, Camille Robinson Regis, say, your Sushila name is beautiful. Isn't it a beautiful name? But your name is that of a slave master. But no, all right, well, congratulations to us. We went through one of the hardest things in history and we endure it, and now we are the most courageous people, and we're your brothers and sisters and stuff. One day we will have back our beautiful names like you, Auntie Cams. You know what I mean? I aspire to be more and more like you every day. You know what I mean? But so let me do a process of elimination today. As the Prime Minister really inspired me. I just want to give Watson Duke and them an opportunity to retain my vote, because right now I'm with the PDP. But that emancipation message, go ahead and read it, and you'll probably vote PNM just like me. But I want to hold on a little while before I switch my vote until we get to the PDP in this topic. But happy Emancipation Day, Trinidad and Tobago. For some strange reason, I'm feeling like it's a long time since I talked to you. You know, I'm feeling like, although I hear every week, every Tuesday morning, I'm feeling like if it's a long time, so I have a few things to go through, right? I want to send a salute to the great Ras Shorty I. You know what I mean? The great Ras Shorty. After they renamed Short Street in San Fernando after the great Ras Shorty. I think, you know, I will always celebrate these things, you know, because I feel like more and more we need to get to this point where we're taking away the names, Kamala, of slave masters on all these streets in our city and all these statues all over the place. And we actually celebrating the people who are our real heroes, people like Ras Shorty. That's certainly one of my heroes. They say the founder of soca music, the creator of soca music, and all of us follow in his footsteps. So why not rename the streets after people like him? That way all people could look at it and feel proud, because according to Kamala Sushila Prasad Bisesa, the names of the streets in our country are that of slave masters. So, I mean, if she had such an issue with it, how come there's things that we never address? And even though, like, Dr. Rowley's speech is beautiful. It's not a speech, right? It's an address or message. Beautifully written, inspiring. I feel like I should do more. You know what I mean? I like that kind of thing. You know my theory about Auntie Mia. And Keith come across in this speech a little bit like Auntie Mia. I wonder if you could deliver the speech, boy, and, you know, get the full marks for it. But I want to say salute to the people of San Fernando. The Coys call them the council, the mayor, junior girl. And, you know, under all the thing, they spell the man name wrong. They spell the name wrong. But I don't want to make nothing of that, you know, because I don't know why I expected a man whose name is Junior Regular and spelled Junia. So they spell Junior. I don't know if he would have ever be the right man to spell Ras Shorty name right. But it's a minor error, and I'm sure that they will fix this. And the more important thing is that the streets, especially in a place like San Fernando, that have so much history where our culture is concerned, is now being named after the greatest people in our country. And not the people who enslave us, the wicked slave masters, you know what I mean? And there's a street I drive on a regular basis now. I usually used to pass down Short Street. If you know, Short Street is a street that's short. But there's a big downhill and a big uphill to come back onto High Street. So I usually pass there on a almost weekly basis to drop Zachary to school. So I'm glad that we're doing that, man. And I'm not sure who High Street named after, if it just named so because it's high. Well, we started to tackle them one by one. Yes, Abercrombie. All Queen Street, unless that Queen is Wendy Fitzwilliam, I have a problem. That Prince Street, unless that Prince is Brian Lara or Prince Swanee, I have an issue with them thing. I find we should rename all the streets one by one. So we headed in the right direction because just last week we had the opportunity to celebrate Kitchener, Pro Queen Street being named after Lord Kitchener, deservedly so. 1 week after we have Lord Shortie Street, you know what I mean? A short street, so they might as well name it Shortie Street. So all you want to do in celebration of Lord Shortie Street, you want to take in a Emancipation Shortie? Yes?
It's 500 years, they keeping you out of every land, but you remain a gem in the eyes of every black man. Africa, listen, your children's calling you. Come closer now, mother of nations old and new. Beyond every horizon and every shore, the child that you made grow to be a man, with standard bearers of Africa in his hand. Ituwewe, Jenga nishikwa aparoma. Ituwewe, kuwa mshika deba karatasi najiwe. So though they call your name with disgrace and shame, all the chapters of your greatness, from Africa to this new world, with your sons and daughters now and forever, Africa you shall remain.
Yes.
Your wealth and your pride, even your image, they take from you, but you survive all civilizations, old and new. Red man, black man, pride of your father and your son. Africa, remember that you are the same one. From Egypt to Ethiopia, across the oceans to America, through the Russian steppes of Europe, West Indies and India. Ituwewe, Jenga nishikwa apa aroma. Ituwewe, kuwishika deba karatasi najiwe. So do they call your name with disgrace and shame? All the chapters of your greatness, from Africa to this new world, with your sons and daughters now and forever, Africa you shall remain. You leave your brother like a stranger all over this world, but with every beat of the drum, your image unfolds. Black woman, remember children of Africa, displaced and scattered without a trace of their culture. The
Yes.
color of your skin is their heritage, so no matter where you go or where you live, the black man with the drum remains your true image.
Yes.
Ituwewe, Jenga nishikwa apa aroma. Ituwewe,
I'm sticking with the Emancipation team, right? By the gay Shorty that will like.
My people, which
Yeah.
are called by my name,
Right.
shall humble themselves and pray,
Yeah.
and seek my face
You know this one?
from their wicked ways. Then I shall hear from heaven, and will forgive their sin, and will heal their land.
awo, 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 awo. Kadaya, daya, gadaya, ha.
Kadaya,
You cry, Gadaya, Daya, Gadaya, because they're coming on the nation. Awo, 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 awo. Awo, 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 awo. Everybody frightened, they're running for cover. No respecter of persons, them bandit, them killer. They're raping and looting, they're killing you dead. Dead, nobody escaping. Booyaka, bullet in your head. Oh my country, overnight, get so angry, on uptight. I search out the answer, and this is what I discover. Or you push the creator out, you didn't want the name in your mouth. So you take him out of the school curriculum. No knowledge of God for your children. Look around you, all you have is teenage bandits. They might have nothing in it but O's and A's and CXC, but no knowledge of the Almighty. Just because you push the Creator out, you didn't want the name in your mouth. So you take him out of the school curriculum. You're reaping the fruits of your actions. So tell me where you're balling for. Where are you crying for? Where you're balling for? Where are you crying for? Is you who push the Creator out. Yeah. Every generation that comes is nothing more than a reproduction of the one gone before. All your double standards and your false value, they come back and catch you off guard and confusing you. What you're seeing is yourself manifesting, nothing else. Check the children's performance, then look deep in your conscience. You go see, or you push the Creator out. You didn't want the name in your mouth. So you take him out of the school curriculum. No knowledge of God for your children. Look around you, all you have is teenage bandits. They might have nothing in it but O's and A's and CXC, but no knowledge of the Almighty. Just because you push the Creator out, you didn't want the name in your mouth. So you take him out of the school curriculum. You're reaping the fruits of your actions. So tell me where you're balling for.
Don't ball.
Where are you crying for?
Don't cry.
Where you balling for?
Don't ball. Ras Shorty, see, we say push the Creator. One of the greatest songs. Every song is my greatest song, right? But this is one of my favorite Shorty songs with the long list he have. And that creation of soca. Remember that the idea behind soca, they say soul of calypso, right? And he had originally spelled soca, S-O-K-A-H, and it gets its own little version now and turn out to S-O-C-A. But wait to remember that, going back to Dr. Rowley's speech, in terms of where we come from, what emancipation is about, why we're here, how we end up here, but the importance of living here, understanding that we have different people here with different backgrounds, and the backgrounds, people emerging all the time. So in terms of how we unite and unify, this song encapsulates well what Dr. Rowley was trying to say, and Ras Shorty in general, because in creating soca, you have to remember that what he was doing was creating a fusion between what he would have called African music and what he was calling Indian music. And there's a theme throughout a lot of his music. So a lot of these songs he's saying, Om Shanti Om, Indrani, you have a song called Sing Indian, I believe too. It's really or Indian singers. It's really a fusion between the Indian and African music that you take to create soca. And when you listen to the lyrics in this song talking about we coming out with education, what we call in education, and then when they come out, but the song was about the idea of removing religion from the school curriculum. So they were not going to teach religion anymore on the school curriculum. And that was something he was protesting about in song, like what Calypso is about, right? And basically saying if you push the Creator out, what do you expect to get in some years to come? Now, you only know he's not the most religious man it have, right? But when you hear Shorty talking about this back then, about the level of crime and the level of teenage idleness, something you're wondering, boy, if it's a cycle we gonna ever come out of this? Because that was part of Dr. Rowley's speech too, in terms of what we do as Africans, how we live, What's the situation? What's the areas we live in? The predominantly African areas. What's the level of wealth in them societies? What's the level of innovation coming out of them communities? Or is it a same story about them communities that we hearing where you're looking at these things on the news and MYB? I can't watch them thing no more, because everything is seeing now is little black fellas jumping out a car and shooting at little black fellas. They don't care who they shoot. It's like, what is going on, man? Getting shot in the middle of the city in the hot sun. And as somebody who, I might talk a lot about not being religious, right? But I could talk that how much ever I want. You see my mother and my grandmother and them, they put religion inside. I feel it embedded. Call it religion, spirituality, whatever it is. At that point in time, I used to go to St. Crispin's Church on a morning. That's for 6, 7 o'clock. Then when I done, I just had time to come home and eat something and go back to Unity. Unity used to be up by, I don't know why I started to talk about streets in Tongue, because I don't know the streets in Tongue too well. By a square up in Tongue, up the road. I think it's Abercrombie Street. I'm probably wrong about that. And then in the evening, I go in Ebenezer Sunday School by Ebenezer with Hector and them fellas. So the amount that I went through, and also, even though I always talk about non-religious and all that kind of thing, I still make sure that Zachary is part of religion. As I said the other day, I went his first communion. I'm glad for him to be part of it. The mothers make sure that he's very Catholic. You can't bad talk religion wrong. He neither, He's a man. He just get frightened fast. He say, boy, listen, daddy, you can't joke about that. But the point again too is that when you hear Shorty singing a song like this in these times and realizing that up to today we're still in these times, I personally see the value in teaching young children about religions. One of the benefits I had was growing up in St. James, we were pretty much a part of all the religions it had. When it's who say we beating drum. When it's Eid, we going up by the mosque. Diwali time by the mandir, we cleaning out. We didn't even know what's the festivals. The Hinduism is the one I know the least about. But we used to go there and clean up in the back in the mandir on that street close to Polytechnic. That street with Polytechnic, right next to Poly, I believe. And of course, the Christian religions, the Baptist religion, I always talk about Baptist Thanksgiving, where you go and eat out, you greedy out yourself in the people Baptist Thanksgiving and singing the people's song. You don't even know what they're saying. Whatever they're singing, I singing, because I know food coming after that. It's the best part about religion, and no matter how much people fast, after every fast, there's come a feast. And in Trinidad, is before and after. Before we fast, we drink and eat heavy, then we fast, and then when we break the fast, now we drink and eat heavy again. That's how we live. So I like the idea of religion for what it teaches you in terms of not necessarily right and wrong in terms of who going to hell and who going to heaven. I don't think I believe in none of that. But what I believe is give you a sense of how to live, a sense of community, a sense of belongingness, a sense of that the world is greater than just you. If you're living in a world where you feel the block is everything and it's all about you and where you get on the block and your whole ambition is to drive a drop low, wet man, you know what I mean? It's a reality that we face now. And it's a particular issue in the Afro-Trinidadian part. You see, African in Trinidad is a part of our problem. Some of us stay on the block all our lives. You never really see much else. And the thing about it is, I always talk about this. It's not like if you had to travel and go and see the whole world. Sometimes you just have to come out of your own community. You go Maracas for a little while, you know what I mean? Don't go for as far as Las Cuevas because people getting shut up there too. But if you go Vestini, you go Guaya, spend a weekend, go to Bago, you know what I mean? It just expand your mind, realize that life have more to it. And that's one of the things that religion teaches you. So I personally, going back to this push the creator out, I feel like religion should be taught in schools, regardless of which religion it is. So in a school that is non-denominational. So I went Catholic schools, right? I went Newtown Boys, then I went Fatima. But I also went Tranquil. So let me say Tranquil, I go on A levels there and it's what is called that? Just, it's not associated with a religion, right? I think there's value in doing a religious knowledge course. Remember when they used to do religious knowledge or religious instruction? But I think the way to handle it in a school like that is to expose the children to more than just the one thing. So one day you could have a Presbyterian come in and talk, a Hindu come in and talk, a Muslim, or I'm saying Muslim, right? But imam, a pundit. Let them come and talk because I like listening to sermons. The wisdom of a religious leader is a hell of a thing. I like to hear Father Gregory talk. I like County Council Jason Gordon. Jason Gordon. Charles. whichever between Charles Jason and Gordon, one of the names in there, right? And I remember going to a funeral for one of my neighbors who had passed away some time ago, and it was a imam saying the words. And when you hear him talk, it's something that you could not believe in nothing. But the levels that they talk to, or the level of inspiration, or the way they address society, they're not. I remember as a young person, I used to feel like if sometimes when I go to church, they're just talking about the Bible, and it's so far from the reality that I see in every day. But I don't find that to be the case now. Maybe as I get older and wiser, maybe it is that the sermons change, or probably both. But it's very, very much topical. If you like reading the newspaper or listening to podcasts or following current affairs and looking at the effects of things on the world, trust me, listen to people who talk like pastors, priests. I listen to my cousin Marlon. When he delivers a sermon, you have to listen, you know. It's not about your belief or what you subscribe to. You just get engrossed in what these folks saying, because they're very, very. There's a level of wisdom that comes with it. I don't know where it comes from, or they go tell you it come from God, right? When I'm saying this, all of them saying God right now, but that level of wisdom is something that could help you in your day-to-day, whether you subscribe to religion or not. And I'm talking about listening to the priest, but you see the man who they run in the church and take some millions, and then he come out driving some rate. And what's going on in Marlon? I don't talk to Marlon serious. Yes, and me and Marlon are to invest in something, because we could invest. You could do your main church right now that fulfilling your will, right? You get a call from God clearly. But let me and you set up a little side church too. We could set up a side church where we could have a couple Rolls Royces and, a little side mega church. I could put my name on it. You not to put your name behind it, so to make sure that you clip. But anyway, do you understand what I'm saying? In the schools like those, they could come together and have a religious knowledge so that people exposed. Because I also feel like it's not a good thing to be exposed only to one religion or one doctrine or one way of thinking. I feel like the more of it you're exposed to, the better. And it makes for a more well-rounded person. So I agree with Ras Shorty 100% in the idea of pushing the creator out. You will get the results that you have. If there's a seed you plant, this is where you reap years down the road, and it not changing. So it had me thinking when I was preparing for this episode about school curriculum generally. Religion is not the only problem, or some creator, some higher being, or some power that is more than you. There was a thing we used to learn in management called Maslow hierarchy of needs, right? If you remember this, so a refresher. Maslow say it have different ways, and it was psychological theory. Maslow was looking at motivation. How do you motivate people, right? And he had this theory that said people motivated at 5 different levels, or the 5 different things. And he said the most basic motivator is physiological, which is the needs of the body, right? The nice thing about physiological needs is your body, when your body needs something, your body will tell you it need that. Like my foot is telling me now I need rest. When you're hungry, your belly will ball. When you're thirsty, you understand the physiological, your physiology, your physical being going to tell you when you need certain things. But Maslow say once you figure out how to satisfy that need, you can no longer be motivated by that. So then you start to be motivated by safety. When you think about it, it makes sense, because if I'm motivated by food, somebody gave me food, I'm willing to act based on the promise of food, or that's why I'll get food, or I'm going after something because I know I'm getting something to eat. Once I get that consistently, the next thing I will try to do is secure the source of that food. So I'll try to protect myself, protect my family, and protect the source of my food, because of food income today, right? So you will look at, all right, so I did not just eat, but I make sure I could eat in the long run, right? Then Maslow said it have something called social needs, where you're now not thinking about just your own body and what it needs, or your own close relatives and keeping them safe, but you start thinking about the society. So from a social standpoint, you're motivated by fitting in society, standing out, being a part of this, being a part of that. So you realize that the social needs have to do with others. They have to do with society as a whole. Then he say what you're looking at now is what you call esteem needs. So you're looking at not just being a part of social circles, but excelling in those social circles, where you start to make a difference, you start to make an impact. So You're rising above a certain level in society, then you're trying to reach a certain point. And you're motivated by that. Most of us who listen to this podcast will be somewhere there. We working towards things. We care about what society thinks about us. We care about the footprint we leave on this earth and what we do in this society when we leave. We care about what happens after we die and what will happen with our children and their children and the communities they live in. That's how most of us who listen to this live. And then the top of the thing is a little pyramid, right? But the top of it is what we call self-actualization, where you found your life's purpose. I suspect that a lot of us who listen to this podcast probably self-actualize in many ways in life already too. When you think about that, right? You would notice that usually when I'm in class, I ask students, I say, so which one of the needs more important? And people will typically say physiological, because without food and so on, you would die. But Maslow's point was that, listen, you see, physiological and safety, he had called those like lower order needs, less important, which sounds counterintuitive, right? But the higher order needs, which would be social esteem and self-actualization, he said that is higher order needs. He said, because if you're motivated just by food, water, sex, shelter, and clothing, if that is all the thing that motivates in you, then you could become a danger to yourself and society. It means you eat things that ain't good, you could kill yourself. It means that you could kill for food, you kill other people. You understand what I mean? So the idea is that if we can create a society or work toward a society where the average person is at least looking at their social needs, how they fit in society, what they do, how they impact the groups around them, we will constantly be in trouble where crime and them things is concerned. Crime can be a police problem. It certainly can be a McDonald Jacob problem. Because then it could never fix, right? It can be a Gary Griffith problem, or what have that name again? Good. I can't remember his name. That's a good sign. It will never fix. Them fellas, it's unfair. Let me say this, right? As much as I like to poke fun at the police commissioner and these people, it's unfair to ask McDonald Jacob to solve anything. But how you going to solve crime? The most he could do is count up all them stats he like to count up. You know what I mean? They can't do it. And the most Gary could do is talk and talk about roach. And police commissioner could never solve crime. Them differ after the crime happened. How do we live in a society where nobody don't want to do no crime? That coming back right to what Maslow was saying. We had to create a society where people see themselves as part of a whole. Unless we create in a society where people see themselves as a part of a whole and not as individuals, where, because I always talk about how individualistic and how selfish we are as a society. I gonna make my money for myself, get a higher wall, get more security, get bigger and better dogs, get FUL, get gated community, block off road what the whole government paying for, and gate up that so people can't come in. You understand? And just stay away from the crime. Don't do anything to help crime. A matter of fact, contribute to crime by inflating contracts, taking kickbacks, taking bribes, influencing who in power versus who not in power, not based on the national good or based on what society need, but based on what I need as an individual, because I have to have hundreds of millions of dollars to make sure that my child never have to deal with all these criminals, and then come and complain and say McDonald Jacob and nobody do no more crime and Rowley and all these kind of things. That's how we choose to live as a society, and it goes right back to what Maslow is saying. Unless we start to create a society of higher order needs where people seeing themselves as bigger than just little individuals, because the man who taking $1,000 a day in licensing office to give people, is that 1,000? How much for it now? 1,000 to give people license and put them out on the road and collecting an extra 40, 50 grand a month on top of his salary, being paid to do that. But he collecting an extra 50. And you know, the wicked thing about we as a people, we just get paid to do that as a little side hustle, little corrupt things. And them little side hustle bigger than we salary. But when it's negotiation time and we see 000 matching and singing Negro spirituals, we want we money back and wade in the water. We oppressed when we corrupt in the whole system. The issue is that when you take that taxpayer dollar could have go towards somebody who couldn't afford something. A mother who have children who can't afford housing. You know what I mean? A child who not doing so well, somebody who have some kind of disability that not allowing them to work in society, not allowing them to be able to achieve the same way an average able-bodied person could achieve. We could do that. But no, we rather just see about ourselves. So we are a society of lower order needs who trying to solve crime. And I'm going back to Shortie again, that idea of push the creator out. It real. We expect that if we teach no kind of morality, no kind of sense of country, we go through school. You notice a part of the song he said, in the school curriculum, you come out with idle teenage children who full of GCE and full of CXE and full of GCE. And you're finding yourself in the same problem because I say it all the time, from common entrance all the way to A levels, the things that you're learning there, I don't find it very helpful for life in general. I don't know about you. They prepare you well. They prepare you for university. Once about a friend of mine who was on campus the other day and we were talking about it. She has a son about the same age as Zachary and she was talking about common entrance, well, SEA and all that. How poor of a how poor the preparation is when you're going from SEA to Form 1. And I was telling her, I said, listen, I don't think it have a gap that bigger than A levels to UE for me. And it might be worse now because when I went to UE, I did GCE A levels or the English exams, that's the hardest set of work I ever do. That's the hardest exams I ever come across. But now they're doing CAPE, I believe it is, which is different again. So the gap now might be even bigger between the secondary and tertiary education. But I will say that our education, as Shortie alluding to in this song, does not do very well to prepare us for the society as a whole. Imagine you're going through school from kindergarten all the way to A levels. You learn nothing about personal finances, budgeting, debt, savings, different type of borrowing. You don't know anything about it. They don't teach you nothing about SUSU, nothing about credit union, nothing about the bank, nothing about island finance. They don't teach you nothing about courts. So when I come out and I get a little work and I start to fulfill lower order needs now by going by courts and take out this, that, and the third, you know what I mean? Or I aspire to fulfill my social needs by showing people what I have. So the first set of money I make, I take a big loan and go buy Antons and buy something nice. I'm telling you, this was all my ambition. The first piece of money, first credit card I ever get, $1,500. I went immediately and buy the newest, nicest phone. It had phone selling for $300, you know. But in my mind, I had $1,500 on a credit card. I go in and buy one of them small Nokia with polyphonic ringtone. So I could be the big man on campus. Again, there's very little thought about how you're going to manage your finance. You have to figure out from the time you leave. For some of us, if we're lucky like myself, you're going to figure out finance at 24, 25 when you leave university. Some of us even older than that, because if you went and our little sister did doing law, she ain't finishing school till she's about 28. You know what I mean? And she'll be taken care of by her parents up to that time. So then you're going to face the working world, and all of a sudden you have to try and figure out finance and how much to save and how much to... You're going to do that by trial and error. And if you're lucky and you're in a family who had... Rolly was talking about it in terms of entrepreneurship. And if you're lucky and you're born into a family with business, you might have had more exposure to what business is like. I had a meeting this weekend. It was really, really interesting. We were talking through our financial state, our profit and loss, talking through how it should work, where you should look for, and so on, right? And the lady who was talking to, she had a grandson who now doing CXE accounting. She said, come, you should listen to this. And let me tell you something. He said you want to do accounting, right? And I was talking, I'm not good at this, right? This is something I struggled with throughout all my school years, and I was forced to become very comfortable with because of business. So now I could talk through it, and I could help somebody else. I never thought the day would have come, because without men like Hinks and Osman and them, I would have never understand people like Rennie Popplewell. I would have never understand none of this. But thank God I had people like that around me who could have helped me with it, so that I could have turned around and helped somebody now, kind of pay it forward, you know. And when she was listening, you could see her unlocking some things in her mind, which is, as somebody who's lectured, that's a very rewarding feeling for me. I could call that self-actualization. You see, when I try and explain something and I see in your face that something coming out, a little bit of light coming in that darkness, that's the best feeling in the world for me. And she called her son, and when I started to talk about it, I was trying to explain to her why I need to pay so much attention to gross profit in her particular situation. And that little boy eyes light up, and I could see, I'm making assumptions here, but I feel like a part of why he would have reacted that way was that he might have seen for the first time how real world what he's studying is. In other words, this is something that grannies look at all the time, and I tell her she should look at that all the time, every day, almost on every transaction. If you could look at it, look at it. because it's critical in running your business. That's make or break. And that was one of the things for me in school. I could do it now, and I'm doing it now because I'm applying it. Is very my survival depends on me understanding these things. Make sense? But in school, sometimes nobody was unlocking it for you and showing you, all right, this is why you need to understand this. This is your real world application. It was tough. So the idea of finances and stuff, it just was not happening. Worse yet, your own personal finances. Nobody don't take time to tell you about taxes. So you leave school, or you could leave with a degree in business, right, in this country, without understanding what is the personal income tax rate, what is the threshold, what is corporation tax, what's green fund, what's business levy, why are you paying tax on sales, how come you're not paying tax on your profit, what is that? You understand? They always tell you, so they will give you scenarios in school where you learn about profit and what happens after profit and how much of it taxed, but they will give you an arbitrary tax figure. They will say, okay, so let's assume tax is 10%, which is good, right? Because then it creates people like Hinks and them. And salute my boy Osman too, and coming through with his ACCA. I sometimes feel like I struggle through things with people, and I know when he started that, and I'm so glad and proud to see him finish that thing. But it creates brilliant minds like them where they may be able to look at any scenario and work it out in any country because they have a real strong foundational knowledge. But what I'm saying is, if you don't choose to go into a career in accounting, or if you're not predisposed or you didn't do the work like me in school where accounting is concerned, is it that you're coming out in the world now to try and figure all this out from scratch again? Why not give me a templated type of learning that shows me, okay, this is how you do your taxes. This is how you fill out a TD1, TD2, TD3, TD4, TD5, TD6. Me, you know how much of them TD it have. But I can tell you, every one of them TD form, this cost me an insurance policy, because my only hope with them thing is to have an insurance agent who going to follow them thing for me and send it to me, because I'm not doing it. If you're being real, I'm not doing it. I don't know how to follow them form. I don't know what it is I'm doing. How to file your VAT. What is your VAT threshold? I don't understand why they don't teach things like this. Simple things in school we could teach other than just the creator and the religion. Tell me how to start and register a business now. Don't just tell me why entrepreneurship important. Tell me from small. How you start a business. What you have to go by legal affairs. What is a name search? How you register the company. What is your articles of incorporation? Why you need these? What is a LLC? What is a LTD? What is a sole trader? How does it affect it? I don't understand why they don't teach. So again, if you go business school, you will start to understand some of these terms. But nobody sits you down and tells you, okay, we have a class today on how you do this in Trinidad and Tobago. How to sign up for, back in my time it would be different, right? But now they have to tell you how to sign up for iGovTT and how to, you could do all these things from real small and let people come out understanding what they are. Do a little course. How do you access government services? So that if later on in life somebody run into problems with medical concern or somebody have a child who differently abled, we don't know that. You could say, wait now, but they used to teach in school and they used to tell us about this kind of thing, and I have a document here, something I could go back to. I have a whole email from school, because unlike me and you, right, who went to school in a time where we had notebook, I want you to go now and find a notebook from Newtown Boys. So you might can't find it, but one of the things I watching with Zachary is that Zachary for his school has an email address, sanfernandoboys.thing@gmail, wherever it is. So he has emails of his course plans and his lessons. So even if, let me say in we time, they would teach you that would go in one year and come out in next. In this time now, they could actually go back in digital form and go back through an email and find a document that might serve them well later on in life. Simple other things. How come you don't teach a little first aid in school? Because again, I'm not sure if by now, I heard the talk before where they were talking about life skills as part of the school curriculum, but there's exactly what I'm driving at, life skills like first aid. Or if something happens to somebody fall down, somebody Achilles bust, what are you supposed to do? What are you supposed to do? What are you going to do now? You understand? Another thing that I was thinking about recently was, with mental health being as important as it is in companies or everywhere now, everybody paying so much attention to it, is there an effort to teach about mental health in Trinidad and Tobago, in the schools of Trinidad and Tobago, where we could identify mental health issues in ourselves and others at a basic level? Nobody saying you have to go on, you're walking St. Anne's all of a sudden. I ain't trying to qualify you in it unless you so desire. But I'm trying to make you understand, okay, so these are mental health issues. What can I do to avoid it? How do I meditate? How do I relax? How do I balance my time? How do I manage myself to make sure that I end up at the adult now with debilitating anxiety? You understand? These are things that you could, I'm sure there are ways to teach these things in school. Teach me how you buy a house, where you have to go through the corporation, this, that. Give me basic contract information. Don't just tell me offer and acceptance and invitation to treat and let me understand what our contracts about. If you could do those things, I starting to understand, all right, this is how these things could help me in life. And I'm not saying do it in replacement of maths and English and accounting and so on, but those things are for professions. So if you're going into a profession and you have those things, like Boy Bert has always say, everyone of them do well in school. They study all the way through school, they excel, and then they work in the areas that they study. That's the ideal. People like Karen Etienne. No, again, I get some government names. Swazet John, Andre Mills. People I know, so little boy Mills. You had to shake off this thing, watching it. This thing going too long, you had to shake it off. That's inside joke, right? But people like them would have studied that or focused on a specific area throughout schools, focus on it on university, excel at it, and then get jobs in that field, and then excel in the field. I want to say that people like that are in the minority. Most people going to come out not very sure what they want to do, not very sure what they want to accomplish in life. Like there's one little child I look at now who is, you could see she's not with the academics. When I call it academics, it's primary school. Let me say that is the arithmetic and the English and the foundation of the academics then. She's struggling with it, you know what I mean? She's not enjoying it. She's not having a good time, you know what I mean? And when you're not enjoying it and you're not having success with it, then you're going to start to, like me, I used to feel like dance like hell in Newton boys, right? I used to come in Miss Sinclair class, salute Miss Sinclair. I used to come 30 something in class all the time. 32nd. It had 33 people in the class. 31st. I fighting all out to see if I could come one day. I could at least come about in the 20s. And I struggling. I can't see 20s at all. All I see is 31st, 30th, 30. I only get close to the top of the class when it was time for mock exams, when it was about the last 2-3 exams before we went Fatima. Because when I come second and thing, and I still at 97, 98%, and I come in second in class. The thing about it is, I feeling like I said that. I didn't realize that with that, I get 90-something%. My percentage wasn't dropping under 90 at any point in time, but I was in the A stream and the class was bright like hell. With no Romalees. The class was bright. So when you get 92%, you come in 30 something in class, because everybody are 98, 99, 97. Yeah, so you're way behind. So I think it's unfair to children to leave them in this position where you're making the child feel like they're done. So let me put it like that, right? And it's one of the things I watch with this little girl, because she not having success and not having joy with the schoolwork. That might be for several reasons. Whether she predisposed to it, the home situation, the way the teachers teach, it could have 100 reasons why that could happen. But one of the things could happen with that child is she start, like me, seeing yourself as a failure, seeing yourself as somebody. And that's a dangerous thing, you see, self-fulfilling prophecy. Like my grandma, I used to say self-fulfilling prophecy, right? My grandmother used to say, Corey, your words are strong. So she was another one who didn't like all these bad jokes like Zachary. She used to say words are strong. So and you see words strong, because in the beginning I think I only talking about so foot now is foot problems. But she used to say words are strong. Watch what you're saying. And it's really, can't have a child feeling like they're done, so feeling like there's a failure there, and they're telling themselves that there's a dangerous narrative for a little child that's almost 9 years old. Now, what I will say about her as well is that I sit down with this little girl a day, and the mother sent a video at a time with her singing a Kitchener, Reno Rama. Well, they sing, and they fuss, and they say we war, we fed, and they abuse, and they cuss, and they say this is a threat, and they damn, and they blast, and they say it wouldn't be true. They wouldn't dare to cancel, we jump up 1972 or 62. Mama, when they hear, they go get a carnival. Oh Lord, all masqueraders unhealed. And they didn't care if it was official, but they start turning beasts on the street, biddy, and they start to jump around, and they fall down on. I hear her singing that song, and not just hear her, see her. They had her in a little kitchen, a kind of suit with a hat. And when I see how that girl lights up singing that song and the actions, she could never have seen Lord Kitchener in her lifetime. But the actions and they must show the videos and she kicked the foot. I said, but this child is a genius. How you gonna have a genius of a child whose streets could be named after later on in her life? Thinking that she's a failure at something, she could never be a failure. And I sit down with her and I say, hey, I say, see you have to sing Calypso. And I went and I sang Blakey. A simple song. I was thinking of what simple song I could teach this child where she will learn, and you know what I mean? And I say, it was a bacchanal, like the carnival, fight for so with invaders and Tokyo. BD. My friend run and left his hat when they hit him a baseball bat. Never me again. So jump in a steel band in Port of Spain. Hey, I say, all right, I will teach her that 3 little verse, simple chorus, call and response. People go sing it with you. And that was a popular song, you know. I sit down with her and I say, listen, you go learn this song. While I singing this song, she catch the first verse. So I say, all right, bring your pen and paper. Let me write it down now. She don't want this party because as far as she concerned, pen and paper and writing out thing is schoolwork. That is spelling and dictation and all. I say, no, as a Calypsonian, you have to write. If you like Calypso, how you gonna know Calypso and you ain't right? You had to write song. So she sit down now and she writes, she make a little mistake. I say, nah, that ain't spell right. Change that, change this. But you know, that is a part of the learning too. She could learn English through the very cassette Calypsos and get better at it there because she wants to learn it. The next time I see that little child and I pick up that guitar, she have it already. She have the song from top to the drop. She ain't no paper again, you know. She know the song. So you would tell me somebody like that could go through school feeling like there's a dance and it's the overall point when it goes to that push the creator out. Sorry I'm killing this to death, but it's the overall point. I feel somebody like Shorty trying to make the idea of pushing the creator out. You can't create a school system where it's so narrow that you only have a few people who could excel and survive in it. So it's designed for the minority. Every school is have, you see that A stream in the school only representing about 1/3 or 1/4 of the amount of people who do well in academics. So you create a whole system of schooling where it's designed for 1/3 or 1/4 maybe to get through the gate. And I want to say that I talk about 1/3 or 1/4 in Newtown Boys and Fatima. I ain't talking about no 1/3 and no Romaleys. The school is in the garage. You know what I mean? It might be even less than 1/3 in a school like that. Sorry. But you understand the point again at overall. When you look at Fatima, the prestige, quote unquote, prestige schools, I see the difference myself versus what was happening in Fatima, where when you go in Fatima, everybody bright, and them still at a A stream. Men who was in the A stream in Fatima, almost to the number, every one of them extremely successful when you meet them in life. Now, all of them who running business among someone the other day in a wedding, he a big boy in some oil company out in Texas. All of them doing well to a number. So what happens? We created a system where it could only cater for 20%. And then the 80% now, when they find themselves all over the place, when they find themselves in crime, in corruption, in domestic violence, when they find themselves there, we surprised. And then we want McDonald Jacob, who was probably in the 80% too. We find McDonald Jacob now and we blame him and say that he's the problem and this and that. And it's a strange way to look at it overall. So salute to Shortie I for pointing out that, so they push the creator out. I love it. And I want us to look at how we could expand. Anybody who listening to this and know what we need to do to expand the school curriculum. So simple things. Look at the problems that the society have today. The society have corruption, it's a crime. Teach them things in the school. Teach why corruption, how corruption affects things, how these things interlinked. Why does thieving money by this side? Put it in social studies. Why it is when you take money from contract and this and thing, how it affects the roads and why the road can't fix and why the hospital leaking and why thing had to fall down on Fitzgerald Hines when it is rainfall and all. Why is Fitzgerald Hines on water? Something always going out. And with the issues we have as a society with man and woman violence, because I always hear McDonald Jacob talk about this, right? And he talks about the fact that where crime and gang-related crime, and that is one type of crime. But when you're looking at a situation this week in Las Cuevas, a man, apparently somebody married, right? Man and woman married. And the woman left the marriage, the done, and she went with her man. And then the man, whatever happened to the man, she left the man now and she gone back in the marriage. You know the man, young fella, no 30-something-year-old security guard, that man get a gun, kill the husband and the wife and kill himself. It's like, what is happening in our society? It's too many stories like that on our front page every single week. This is big July, August vacation. You know how much woman living in Trinidad, my brother, you kill a woman, kill it, so you could get something better than that. You let the woman go back with her husband. As a matter of fact, she could have go back with the husband and you could have still enjoy the benefits of, you know what I mean? But as I remind me of Shortie song, because other than the creator and all the different things I'm talking about, and I know you have some ideas or other things that they should teach in school to help us be more well-rounded and make better adults. But I think Shortie teaches something here that I want to add to the school curriculum as well. This is something that should be taught. Listen to this. Yes?
La la la. Love making is an art. Few of us master.
Yes.
Some men can't even start to kindle their woman's fire. Continuously, they leaving the poor woman on the shelf and always in a hurry, only satisfying themselves. Now when she walk out and go, they can't understand that she left for lack of complete satisfaction. But your woman could never leave you as long as she lived.
Yes.
If you play it smart and practice the art from this expert advice I'll give.
Teach them, Shortie.
Listen, if you want to make your woman feel the way she ought to feel.
Yes.
First dim the lights.
Right.
Then squeeze her tight.
Yes.
Whisper in her ear. Stick your finger in her hair.
Oh, yeah.
Suck she lip. Massage she hip.
Yes.
Then you move your pubic section.
What?
In a slow circular motion. As she eye gets sleepy. Papa, it's time to scooch.
If you teach her in school only domestic violence, no.
Women act differently, I know, according to their race.
Yes.
You'll find some women noisy anytime, any place.
Yes.
And then some are so reserved in all their doings.
Right.
Although vibrantly being served, they cover their eyes and wouldn't say a thing.
Uh-huh.
The Spanish and Chinese will scratch you like they have claws. The Indians, the whites, the Portuguese, mister, all is yours. But with a Negro or a Douglas, you're
Right.
in for a fight. And I can tell you, brother, they're full of bigger and Lord, they have appetite.
Yes.
Well, listen, if you want to make your woman feel the way she ought to feel, take a nipple in your mouth.
What?
That does tickle all about. Listen to her breathing, and if she gasping like
Yeah.
she's strangling, don't stop, continue.
Don't stop.
Tell her what you're going to do.
Yes.
Talk to she and make she answer. That, my friend, builds the fire. You must groan and grind your teeth. And leave me she's sour, tell she's sweet.
Yeah, no, it's about part two.
It is a risk, I agree. Pushing your tongue in some woman air.
What?
Because sometimes it's so waxy, them and all catching the tail to hear. So a man must have stamina and a strong constitution. Because being a lover, believe me, takes a lot of man. Imagine you kiss your girl and get a piece of bake, she had quite a while. The expert lover will swallow that with a smile. And if she raise she hand and she arm smell like stale potato.
Oh God.
You must ask she, darling, chunkans, punkans, punkans, how you could smell like so. Listen, if you want to make your woman feel the way she ought to feel,
Yes.
you got to take your time.
Oh God.
Let she do all the grind. And if she tell you wait, oh gosh, wait, don't stop, you're doing great. Keep on the move. Stay in the groove.
Yes.
Now don't forget got this nice middle finger, this hot magnificent finger, always keeping handy in case of emergency.
All right, okay, Shorty. All right. Maybe we could teach us in UE. You might be ready for it in secondary school yet, and primary school, you know. But if you take the great advice of Shorty, we might have less domestic violence in this country, you know what I mean? Talking about advice on married life and all these things, I want to say congratulations to Ricardo Drew and Patrice Roberts. So what's she gonna be, Patrice Drew? What the situation is? Keep your name and he's a star. Salute to them. I see they get engaged over the weekend in what was Antigua Carnival, St. Lucia, another carnival somewhere. They get engaged on stage. So I'm glad for two of them, man. They come from far, you know what I mean? They've been together a while. All kind of rumors used to spread, and they say Ricardo Drew is the child father, and everybody was saying no and this and that. But when the child born, we was pretty sure that it was Ricardo Drew was the child father. And they seem to be going strong, man. They seem to be going strong. They're always together. That is the second. Well, I guess you had to say Bungie and Fayan is the first couple of soca. Salute to them. So Patrice and Ricardo Drew had to be the second couple of soca. What do you call them? We need some kind of name. You know, them people in the many states are the marketing don't call, you know, because when Ben Affleck and Jennifer Lopez is a Ben and Jen. So we have no little name for Patrice and Ricardo. Picado. Picado was something we used to eat in school. Picarindo. We call them Picarindo. No, but all kicks aside, salute to Patrice and Ricardo Drew. We're glad for them. Let me get on to more Watson Duke, okay? Because you see me, I've done here too long already. My foot's out in. Watson Duke, wait. PDP. PDP launches Black Card series with the Duke book card. Now, this is in Nigel Arkan, right? And I'm telling you now that I'm going to Nigel Arkan in a little while to look for Marshall book. And if I see this black card, I'm going to buy this black card. I want a PDP black card. As inspiring as Rowley's speech was, even though today I'm leaning on the PNM voting side, I still want one of these black card. Now, what I don't like by the black card is the black card have Watson Duke whole face on the card. The PDP, right? No child will be left behind. And the back of the card had Kizell Jackson whole face. People Development Plan, PDP education for all. Remember the man said bread for everybody, right? Break bread and be merry. You give away a lot of bread in the hood. I mean, a politician is a hell of a man. It's Watson gain man bread and man opening bread right there and biting the bread and eating. You know, if I go and get them a whole bread, they will cuss me and tell me you can put butter. You give people dry bread to eat. You know, if this sitting party now in power come and give people bread somewhere, they go say all kind of thing about the PNM, only give them bread and take people hungry, people starving, only eating steak, only give me. But everybody accept the PDP bread and eat that thing dry as hell. But Kizell Jackson's on the back. And boy, listen, Kizell Jackson, take the picture with a bottle of water. The bottle of water and all the picture. But salute. Let me see what this card is about. The people's, I can't get these party names right, you know. The Progressive Democratic Patriots has launched its Black Card series with the PDP book card, a digital card worth $700 and a barcode that is reloadable and is redeemable at a specific bookstore. Okay. The card, I thought it was everywhere. The card is the first in the PDP Black Card series and bears the images of political leader Watson Duke on the front and head deputy leader Kizell Jackson on the back. The PDP has confirmed that the PDP book card will be available to families in need throughout the vulnerable communities in Trinidad and Tobago. While the government is discussing digitization, PDP is pioneering it. I like that. One of the founding principles of the PDP is a sustainable future for Trinidad and Tobago. We firmly believe in order to achieve this sustainable future, we must protect and develop our most valuable resources, our children. Nice. Every child across Trinidad and Tobago should have access to the tools and services they need to grow and develop. The PDP is committed to ensuring that no child will be left behind. This is the goal of our PDP Black. Well, I'm trying to figure out how the Black Carders work, people. What's happening in this article? I didn't say nothing. The PDP parents were overwhelmed the first time remembered by politicians. I don't understand how this works. We are putting purchasing power in the hands of citizens. We are giving the power back to the people so that dignity never has to be sacrificed in order to access personal development tools. This article is not helping. Kizell Jackson is a host educational service crash class at the university. She asserted that the PDP education. The PDP Black Card series will feature many other. I don't understand what this is. All it's saying is that it have a black card, and the black card marks $700 on it. What it is they doing? They're just giving $700 cards out to people where I could use this $700 at Nigel R. Carnegie store. PDP has confirmed. Maybe it's my reading, right? I'm just trying to make sure. PDP has confirmed that the PDP book card will be available to families in need. Okay, all right. So I suppose you had to apply for a black card. I was assuming this article. Right, this. The whole Guardian. It's no name by it, rightfully so. So apparently it's a card. This one that they show in the Guardian marks 700, right? So if it's a card, I'm assuming it could be done in different dollar values. But apparently in the most vulnerable communities, which according to Watson Duke is really just Beetham, Silots, and Lafayette. It's no other vulnerable communities in the country. But that means that people of those areas will probably be able to access or apply for a $700 book card. I wonder how much of these he do. I like the PR behind it, but I want to know how much of these $700 card come out, and what's the situation with Nigel R. Khan that caused these things to be done, and who financing this. But it's a good initiative. Anytime you could put, especially in these times here, we heading into August now. Are we in August? And now it's book buying time and all them kind of things. July salary and August salary going to take a hit to buy back to school books for September. So if you could get a little 700 in your pocket, that could allow you to, it can't buy all the books, but it could certainly go a little way to help you. I salute this initiative, but I thought I could have just go in Nigel R. Khan and buy one of these black cards and to the help. But what I will say, let me give PDP a little free idea, right? And the political thing I just can't take too much of it. But if there's a way, because Stacey usually does a book drive every year where she identifies a few people in a community that might be underserved or specific situations where she could help. And we would collect funds to do all the things the child needs to go back out to school. The books, the bag, the uniforms, and everything, and donate it to our family. Hey, this is a good idea. Listen, for all of us as podcast listeners, let me do this now. Let me join in Stacey Initiative. Reach out to me. I'll know my number, 6812400. Reach out to me if you're willing to contribute to these things, because it's a good thing to do. Stacey has been doing this for years now. And the more children that we could help with this, the better. The more families that we could impact with it, the better. And I know you're all interested in doing this as well, so we could do it together. But what I was thinking where this card is concerned is we could probably leave cards like this available for the public. I saw one time Subway had or Prestige Holdings, I should say, had an initiative where there was some flooding in Central. And what they did was they allowed people to come in at a Subway and pay for like a donation. Then I don't know how to put it. You could just go and buy $10 slots, and you could say, all right, I'll put in $100. So I'm buying 10 of them $10 things, and those will go into what's making sandwiches for people who doing relief and stuff, or providing food for people who might not be able to cook or get food because of the flooding and so on. So thinking that for PDP, if you already have this arrangement with Nigel R. Khan, why not make this available for just the average person to be able to go in on Nigel R. Khan and give her $700 or whatever the amount might be. So let's assume you have these cards printed. I would much rather, I don't want to look at too early when I'm doing this. But if there's a way that you could have a card for Nigel R. Khan and I could go and put a 500 or 700, whatever I could afford, and I say, all right, I want to sponsor this card. You could then go and decide whoever you want to give it to. Now, what the hell is this? All hell breaking loose here. No. That would be tricky for some people with the politics, right? Because all the politicians are hard to trust. I ain't lying. So I will feel a way if I go there and I put 700 and I leave there with doubt that actually going towards helping a child, or concerns that it might be going towards political financing, or we'll say it, salaries of leaders of parties and so on. But I give them only the benefit of the doubt, and I don't think Oli will do that, because Oli is good people and Oli going to be in power next. So I'm thinking that it might be a good idea. Let me know now. Let me know how you feel. Moving. Well, salute to PDP. I just want to say that I like the initiative. Anything that could help people are for. And I know, reach out to me in true, if only willing to help us contribute to these children. Stacey does this all the time, and I will do a little better than Watson and them. When we do it, I will give you the information about the children we were able to help, a breakdown in terms of what was bought for them and so on, right? So we should be good there. Reach out to me. Now, in totally unrelated news, I see this thing in the on the grams, which is in Trinidad is not a real place. I don't like the name of this site, but it come across my desk, so I had to talk about it. No. I want to say that this is this little thing indicative of what we are as Trinidad, because I also see this come up on Rhoda Barrett page, and it seems as though nobody don't want to say nothing. We have a way where we like to call out wrongdoing, but we don't want to say the name. I suspect that nobody don't want to call no name because people are quick to run to lawyer in this country to send pre-action protocol letter and sue people and all them kind of thing unnecessarily. But okay. Trinidad Guardian said, no, via the Guardian newspaper, a source spoke to me about a male prostitution ring involving a particular radio host who bought teens as young, not brought, bought teens as young as 17 for sex. I was given the name of this radio host but will not disclose it to the public to protect my source. So this is the Guardian writing this, right? So they're protecting their source by not disclosing the name of the host. And you think to yourself, like, if it's little children, and this is where the accusation is being made. Like, this is something that we would want to expose as fast as possible. I'm hoping that they give the police the information. Or, you know, they said these events took place between 2010 and 2014 in the Moncton area. Older boys were paid to recruit young men and boys for sexual satisfaction of the radio host and other men. Recruiters would be paid as much as $500 to get new boys for the sex ring. Boys who were unemployed, homeless, or impoverished with $500. No, there's nothing funny about this, right? I just doing a quick little maths in my mind because I was talking about this thing with the license officers getting $1,000 a day. Them could make 60,000. I was talking about these book cards and things. If you get a donation for that, you could make a piece of money. But now, studying, for me personally, 500 a day. If I could, like 4 a day, like 2,000 a day, that's what that's $10,000 a week, 40,000. While sources, my sources since my listen again, my speech get complicated. Yes, this looking like a viable. This could be a career. I didn't pull up this story for this purpose, but when I work out these maths here, this I could make something out of this. Forget the underage part, right? I talk more for myself. You know what I mean? If I could do 2, 3 a day, I feel I could make 3 a day. You know? What radio host there? According to who's the radio host, I could make a 3 a day, 1,500 a day a week. I might tell again, husband now do ACC, he might be able to add up that much for me. But again, the whole thing about this that stood out to me is that it is in mainstream media, somebody talking about it, clearly saying that they have a source and it. But I wonder sometimes about these things. It goes back to that same thing with the children's homes and these sex rings and alleged abuse in children's homes that are going on since 90s, right? When they had whatever report it was. And it's kind of make you wonder, like, why we living in a society where it's okay to know these things and have public figures involved in it and everybody just moves on and we just don't call nobody name, you know what I mean? The most important thing is to, again, protect ourselves from libel and lawsuits and so on rather than the society. And this is so indicative of what I was saying about the Maslow's thing. We are maybe I'll name this episode Lower Order Needs. That's how we are. We just concerned about how we go eat and how we go protect ourselves, and whatever happen in society happen. Because it's risky for me to say who this is or say anything because then it's lawsuit and it's this and it's that. So whatever ring, let continue to run because you see me, I not putting myself in no thing and all this kind of, it's just very much a shoo kind of society. We go and we talk about the thing behind closed doors and let it continue, man. They say until better could be done, let the worst continue. That should be our motto, Let me go and talk about people who's doing good. Salute to my guy. If it's my guy, I should know his name. Nicholas Paul. They say track cyclist Nicholas Paul became the first Trinidad and Tobago athlete to win 3 medals at a single Commonwealth Games when he won the bronze in the men's kilometer time trial yesterday. 23-year-old won gold on Saturday in the men's. It's in Kirin, and followed up with silver on. I feel it should be sprint. Me and know what it is, no? And followed up with silver on Sunday in the men's sprint and clinched his 3rd medal, which was the bronze. So salute to Nicholas Paul doing good things out there. I was spared my whole lengthy talk on sports, financing, and them things and why, I saw Safa Powell recently, right? So coincidentally talking about his issues with sports in Jamaica. I was actually a little surprised by that, to be honest, because Asafa was basically saying that athletes going out there for themselves. He said, boy, yeah, when I go out there and run, I going out there for myself. Because the government don't support me. And I have light bill, water bill, all them things. And you know what he says, you wouldn't consider it if you're not in their position, but they're not just going out there and supporting, doing it for a country that's not supporting them financially or otherwise, but all their bills piling up home while they travel in the world doing things. He says, so when I go there and run, he said, obviously I'm going out there to win. He said, I don't know why Jamaican like that. He said, can't please Jamaican people. You're going out there and you're putting forward your best foot, and all of them vexed because they say a thing, and he was talking about Johan Blake pulling up in a race, and people say he pull up because he realized he lost. He's like, the man pull up because he feels something. The man had studied his whole career. Your whole career could be from the time he was about 15, 16 to about the time he was 35. I had to make enough money that to last me a lifetime, or set up another career for when I finish racing, like my boy Atto doing commentary. And Asafa was hurt. And Asafa, I was there when Asafa was just before Bolt. Asafa was being accused of all kind of thing. He don't care about the Diamond League, and he used to win everything over there. But when it's Olympics and it's time for national pride, and he don't care about Jamaica. And I was glad he say some of that and get some of that off his chest, because he the man right. You're not getting no support from a country. You're only getting support, and this is from the government standpoint. Then from the national, the populace, nobody don't come to help you train. Nobody ain't care about you till you get real big. And then when you get real big and all of them claiming they love you from the beginning, you falter in one race. And then they start to say all kind of thing about you. You ain't good and you're this and you're down. You're just crying down the person. And it's so sad. And I watched Nicholas Paul here doing this. And I always follow MCE Bike Club. And they're talking about or Central riders. Someone from Central, apparently, he's be riding with where he'd come out from. And they show all this support for him. But the reality is that he had to go out there and figure that out on his own. I don't know how much funding and support you get from the national community or from the government. And I have a quick theory about this. There's another thing I feel we should put in place. Because just like that little girl I tell you about Calypso, I'm sure you could tell me 100 people who you'd have met before who were more predisposed to sports in their younger years. And when they... as sports people, there might be some sports people who mightn't be so good in the academics, and it might keep them back. I say, put something in place. Once we had an elite athlete program, tell these fellas up front what will happen if you win this. Okay, so Commonwealth Games, this is where you could get from us. Olympic Games, this is where you could get. Gold, silver, bronze, this is where you get. World Championships, this way again. You go out in Diamond Tank, this way again. If you go out there and you represent yourself, Tour de France, something unrelated, this is what. So we could set up something that shows, okay, this is what is in it for me. You remember the motivator thing what Maslow was talking about, right? If I create incentives for you to act in the best interest of not just yourself but in society, then we will be better off, because look what these sports means to us when we have somebody who win. Me didn't even know Commonwealth Games was going on. And I hear you win the goal. I thought it was in the World Games. Me know that done. Because first we does not nobody to follow and you know what's going on. So if we create these things for them up front, so we say, okay, this is the amount of funding we'll give you if you could reach this level. Define what the level is. If you move past this level and you go to elite, this is the level of funding. So a man could see it as something for him. And he don't have to struggle out there every time, because Asafa Powell is one of the greatest sprinters of all time. And this is with Jamaica or Caribbean. And I hear him saying, boy, when he hear what Trinidadian get and what Trinidad get for the thing, he say the things they were supposed to get for some other thing they done, he didn't get nothing yet. And that's sad. That man was the biggest relay team. It had, I think they had the record and all that year, although that might have been one of the races where where somebody set them up as Nesta Carter and they lost the medal. But you know what I mean? Asafa is one of the biggest things. He was there before Bolt. He was on the world scene before Bolt, and he was the great one. You know what I mean? So how come somebody like him could be complaining? And it's sad to see, bro, because when you're thinking some of these things is Trinidadian problems, and a man like Asafa Powell watching and saying, at least Trinidadians know what they will get if they win this and that, then we in a worse place than I thought. But salute to Nicholas Paul. Glad for you. Continue to strive. Any success you get is success that we could get. You know what I mean? And on that note, again, out of here, but I want to salute as well Obed McCoy on the same note. Obed McCoy. But no, let me full disclosure, right? I've a hard time with West Indies cricket and West Indies cricket team. And it might be the single sport that I don't watch or don't participate in. It might be the single sport that at a local level, there's no support from Corey Shepherd. I support all local teams, all local athletes. Anytime I get a chance of watching it, anytime I get a chance, football particularly, I go in the stadium. And cricket would have been one of them things where once Trinidad playing, I go in. Or once West Indies playing, I there. And I was telling you last week about how the Indian people in this country back in India and Pakistan. So I was staying away from the India tour. But I want to say that, full disclosure, that I sold out for riches. I'm a complete hypocrite and sellout because when the riches of a corporate box was flashed in front of me, I tie up my foot, I bandage it up, I put on my frou-frou and my dandan, and I went down in the Brian Lara to watch the first T20. A corporate box, I eat my belly full of roti, I drink my belly full of rum. At that time, I went down there and watched the match, and I want to say that India completely outclassed West Indies. We never looked like we was going to win, and I was upset with myself while I was there for being there. I should not have gone there. I don't know what I went there for. I was so damn vexed. This is why it's take. I could back a team that fighting, but when you see a team looking like there are no fighting them, I just can't take it. And I watch them. The men and them, we reach a little late, right? And when we reach in, the game had already started, and it was looking like if we had a little control, a couple of wickets fall, you know what I mean? We had some control over what was happening in the game. Well, them men make 191 runs, I believe. I'm telling myself somewhere, and understand that I'm not following cricket enough. I don't follow it because I can't take West Indies. So my boy Kern and my father is the two I turn to for my little West Indies knowledge to figure out who is these people who play now and what this mean. But in my mind, 191 in a T20 is not a bad score to beat or to chase. And I might be judging that completely unfairly from limited CPL knowledge, but I say, well, all right, we could run down that. Only to go inside the air-conditioned goodness of the corporate box to eat my rum and roti. And when I come out from eating my rum and roti, West Indies done lost 2 wickets. And at no point in that innings we ever looked like we was threatening them runs at all. We never really get going. We never really look dangerous. Power play come, we ain't scoring no runs off the power. Listen, it was sad. And this is my problem, you know. I be too emotionally attached to sports teams, especially local sports teams, and I can't take when they're not looking like they're fighting. But they make me eat back every word because the great Obed McCoy, who, I'll full disclosure again, I couldn't even see the scoreboard so well. I called that man Moody for the whole match. I said, who's that Moody? Who's Moody? But it's McCoy. And I want to read something that McCoy said. This is from NDTV Sports, from me, I know which part them is, but this is the article. Following his match-winning spell against India in his second T20 of the 5-match series, West Indies pacer Obed McCoy dedicated his Man of the Match award to his mother. I like that already. A destructive spell from McCoy. This is in a T20 game. McCoy takes 6 wickets for 17 runs. That is impressive. If I'm not mistaken, in a T20, the most a man could bowl is 4 overs, right? So think about it. 4 overs, like 24 ball. Out of the 24 ball he bowled, assuming he bowled all 4, that man takes 6 wickets and they only score 17 runs, less than a run a ball. It's super. And a superb half century from Brandon King, 68. He poured West Indies to a 5-wicket win over India in his second T20 on Monday. Salute. I eat back all my words. I sit down there and I drink extra rum when the game was done. First I vex. And I realized that, listen, you see that Maslow thing? Just how Maslow is a pyramid and at the top has self-actualization. The oval and these places is a pyramid, and the top, them boxes, is actualization. That is the way to watch cricket. Don't let nobody fool you about saying and when in the stands and the vibe and rhythm section and Trini Posse and who cook and who bring things to eat and they share. Don't let nobody fool you with that. So schmooze your way into a corporate box and sit down and watch your cricket in the air condition while you're eating rum. Do you understand what I mean when I say eating rum, right? And drinking the roti and people bringing it for you and so on. The only thing that was missing in that little boot is somebody to rub your foot. You know what I mean? When you become a foot was certain. And I make a real out in that game too, you know, because I could walk without the boot now, I tell you, right? But I realized I had to walk with the boot because when the game was in the man no half time, right? Is the turn around, whatever you call it, intermission. I had to check the washroom. Now, with my foot in the seat, even though I have the boot, I can't walk too fast. So I had to head to the washroom before it becomes urgent, if you understand what I'm saying. So I head out the road now and I walk out. And when I walk through the washroom, it's a long walk. I take my time, I ain't no rush until when I reach, it's a long line. And I stand up in the back of the line and I find like something wrong. Because people watching me limping, coming there, and nobody in saying, well, no, sir, go ahead, please go. And I realized the problem is I didn't have on the boot. When you have on the boot, I tell you all what's happened. When I go with that boot and I limping coming along, it could have 40 people in that line. Men can say, no, please go ahead. No, you go ahead, sir. Go ahead, everybody. I think I figured it out with Trinidad. It had nothing to do with us being nice and kind people. It is a better he than me thing. So when they see your foot thing and they say, go ahead now, you go ahead. You know what I mean? Better you than me when I'm kind of foot problem and you go ahead, you go and be quick. And it's our handicap stall there. So if somebody in there walking dead in there and I go and knock on the door, hey, they me here. You know what I mean? But I forget the damn boot home, so I had to stand up and wait for a good while in that line. And all that. By the time I line up, I eat West Indies done lost 2 wickets. But again, salute to Obed McCoy. Now, in terms of what happening over the next week, I'm going to be out of here. I'm gone. The doctor said, go, travel, and be merry. I should be good. That is Dr. Sergi. Salute. So I'm out. So, coincidentally, I'm going to be in the place where the West Indies is playing their next game. And this is how they rope me in. This is how they rope in. They win a little game, the thing, and then all of a sudden now you're going in the oval, you're going in the Brian Lara and you're watching the games. And you're invested, and then it's heartbreak like Daddy and Kern and them again. But who knows? Maybe I will find myself in Fort Lauderdale and I will take in the next T20 game. And I'm telling you that if it's not sold out yet, because that's going to have the most amount of Indian supporters you ever see in your life. Because all of them were in the States and probably can't go back. That is the little taste of cricket. They're going to sit down and watch Jack cricket. So if I could get a little tickets for me and the squad, we will probably roll in and take in that game. But I need a corporate box link. So anybody who's listening to this and may know about corporate box situations in Fort Lauderdale, let me know what the situation is so I could self-actualize over there. I think that is it for me for the day. I will let you know what happened in Fort Lauderdale and I will give all the updates. But I will see you all next week.